ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Friday, July 11th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We're going to have open text lines throughout the show, as it is a Friday, so we're getting you set for the weekend. And the plot thickens when it comes to Sun Belt Conference expansion. There's a report from the Columbus Dispatch that Ohio, not so fast, my friends. Ohio refuting reports. So we'll get into that with you as well. What do you think on the MAC to Sun Belt pipeline? You think that was the big one? If Marshall couldn't get Ohio to maybe jump ship, is there another school? Because going back a few days, we have been reading reports, and everyone's got a report, right? That there have been several teams that are sort of going through some back channels, maybe interested in joining the Sun Belt. My preference still remains ECU, that's the pipe dream. Then Western Kentucky, which I think Western Kentucky brings more to the table than Louisiana Tech. And we can go over and over and over and over that until we are green in the face. But at the end of the day, I think that's what is the better choice. What does Louisiana Tech bring to the Sun Belt that Western Kentucky couldn't bring, other than the geography, which will be a little bit more favorable toward the Western Conference teams? Other than that geography, if you're just looking for a replacement to fill a geographical need, then sure, get Louisiana Tech and we'll move on. If not, I think you got to have a real solid plan here. So we'll get into that in just a few minutes. I do want to talk about this Ohio thing, though, because, could that be a smokescreen? Maybe like, oh, hey, maybe we shouldn't have that out there. Maybe we should not be talking about that right now, because I'm sure that if you're the athletic department right now, top to bottom, if you are in Athens right now, and there are reports that come out that say Ohio University could be moving to the Sun Belt. You see that. What do you do next? What do you do next? Because you're going to get a phone call. Right now, I'm sure that Julie Cromer, athletic director, Ohio, has gotten a lot of phone calls, and I'm sure she's had to either play nice or she's had to basically say, look, no, I don't know what you're talking about here. That is not true. That is not true. So we'll get that going for you in just a few minutes. Let's get you caught up on what happened yesterday in baseball. I don't know if you were following along last night, but if you were, and I hope they saved some, the Tri-State Coalcats on the road. Right now they're taking on Pulaski's River Turtles. The Cats beat the Turtles 19-10. So the teams will play again tonight, 7 o'clock in Pulaski. Now, 19-10. One, that's amazing for the Coalcats to get that kind of offensive output. And it was consistent, too. It just wasn't one explosive inning. One run in the first, 4 in the second, 1 in the third, 3 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, then explosion in the sixth with 5. No runs in the 7. 4 in the 8th, and of course 0 in the 9th. What was going on last night? That was just a complete failure of pitching for the River Turtles. And of course the Coalcats gave up 10. Let's not forget that. Gave up a lot of runs, but still. And that was the thing. You score 5 and then the River Turtles score 4, and you just seal the deal with 4 in the 8th. What got into the Coalcats? I want to know, and can we bring that back? Can you imagine going to the ball game and you're going to actually have to pay attention now because the Coalcats are going to light it up from any time, anywhere in the ballpark. It's going to light it up. 19 runs. So congratulations to them for that outstanding offensive performance. We've got baseball for you coming up tonight here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. The Pirates are opening up a series at Minnesota tonight. We're going to go on the air 7:45 with the game. This is the last series before the All-Star break. Also, the Reds beat the Marlins yesterday 6-0. The Reds home tonight, opening up a series with the Rockies. That's going to be at 7:10 at Great American Ballpark. So that's what's happening as far as baseball is concerned. We're going to get into this expansion news or lack thereof, or this redirection from Ohio regarding the reports that it's a candidate for admission into the Sun Belt. I still think it is. We'll talk about this, and we'll get your take at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. You know the drill. You know how to be a part of the show, and we look forward to talking to you on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
We're here at Roosters asking folks, what's your favorite day? I'm guessing you're going to say opening day or maybe Christmas Day. Well, I'm here to make a pitch for Monday. That's right, Monday at Roosters at Pullman Square in Huntington. Because on Mondays at Roosters, you can get 99-cent boneless or traditional wings. Or maybe Tuesday when you get that $3 featured appetizer of the week and 99-cent kids meals. Actually, any day that ends in DAY is sweet when you have over 40 TVs. Enjoy your favorite day or days at Roosters, Pullman Square in Huntington, a fun, casual joint.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at Hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. That's Hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
The soundtrack to your summer is back. Mount West Night Street Live, downtown Huntington's favorite Friday night tradition. Presented by Michelob Ultra and White Claw. This Friday, July 11th, it's Collins Career Center night featuring 2 sets from the John Ingram Band on the Marsha OBGYN stage. The Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Gomart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy food and drinks from the Marsha Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brass Street, and Summit Beer Station. Mark your calendar for July 18th, the return of Jeremy Short. Join us July 25th for Souls of the Wounded. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August the 15th. Night Street Live is driven by University Ford and built by Cardinal Roofing. Every Friday night through Labor Day, Night Street in Huntington between 3rd and 4th Avenues. Sponsored by Delta Hotels, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, City of Huntington, Marshall University, Blinko Glass Company, Marshall Health Arena, and Kendrick Communications. This Friday, it's the John Ingram Band at Mount West Night Street Live. Be there.
Big flavors, big savings, and top-notch quality only at Food Fair. We're bringing you the brands you love, plus exciting new exclusives. Try Springer Mountain Farms chicken, humanely raised and antibiotic-free. Stock up on Food Club for quality meals at a great value. Crush cravings with Craven flavor snacks, pizzas, and sweet treats. From family dinners to late-night snacks, Food Fair has you covered without breaking the bank. Visit foodfairmarkets.com today. Food Fair, delightfully local, deliciously fresh.
The holiday may be over, but the stars, stripes, and deals at Cardinal Chevy keep on going. Hot new Silverados, 0% financing or save up to $13,000. New Equinox, $4,700 off. New Traverse, over $4,500 off. Plus up to 125% of KBB value for your trades. New ownership, improved processes, better deals. We're taking the market by storm. Visit our gorgeous facility right off I-64 and Hurricane or at cardinalchevy.com. Together, let's drive. See dealer for complete details.
I want to thank my mommy for loving me so much, for taking me out to the park, for reading me books, for taking
me to the doctor when I broke my foot in ballet rehearsal,
for leaving me alone when I wanted to be alone.
And now, as a grown-up, I'm thankful for being able to take care of you, my dear mom, for having the chance to take you to the park, for reading you those books we enjoy so much, for being able to take you to your therapies after you twisted your ankle, for understanding that sometimes you simply want to be alone.
Roles change without us noticing, and in your new role, we help you help. Visit aarp.org/caregiving to get practical health and wellness tips to provide even better care for your loved one. Remember, visit aarp.org/caregiving. AARP. We help you help. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. So we mentioned to you earlier, start of the show, that Ohio University has officially refuted reports suggesting it is considering a move from the Mid-American Conference to the Sun Belt Conference. According to the reports, and this is from the Columbus Dispatch, that these reports are inaccurate, the ones that are referencing Ohio having interest in the Sun Belt. Now, publicly, I would say that's correct. Privately, I would wager that there's been some sort of outreach. There's been some sort of discussion, sort of a relationship building process. Hi, I'm the athletic director here at Ohio University. My name is Julie Cromer. So I hear you have a opening in the Sun Belt. Sort of one of those conversations. Oh, that's interesting. I think if you're looking at how to improve your athletic department, and let's be honest, Ohio has been very strong, working toward improving football, working toward improving basketball. And if you're trying to elevate your athletic department, yes, you're a charter member of the Mid-American Conference. Is that going to get it done? Can you rise above a certain level in the Mid-American Conference? And I would say the answer is no, not in this current landscape. Now, when Marshall was able to go into the Mid-American Conference and just for a few years reign all over on the football side of things, Marshall had a pretty prominent name. Marshall also was able to capture lightning in a bottle, right place, right time. The landscape was a little bit different as well. And so Marshall at one point even had aspirations to get out of the conference. That's why the move was made, more revenue opportunities. And let's be honest, I know that this is probably old history, or for some it's legend, some of it's fiction. But there were talks to bring Marshall into the Big East at one point. And again, I think some of the failings of the past really held Marshall back. Now we're in a different landscape here, and I think Marshall's fine in the Sun Belt. There's some potential here. Marshall has the opportunity to be very strong, wants to be one of the best programs in whatever you want to call it now, the best of the rest, the Group 6. The G6, we'll call it that. And so now you have a situation where publicly Ohio University has come out and said no communication with the Sun Belt regarding conference membership. Okay, well, I don't think that Keith Gill has personally put a phone call in and said, hey, I'm commissioner of the Sun Belt. What do you think? Would you like to play some of our Sun Belt teams on a more consistent basis? So I don't think there's been an official overture. Everything's probably going through channels. Heard it from the REO Speedwagon fan. I heard a song. I heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend. You get the point here. We're going through channels. But I would think it would be, seriously, the way I want to say this. If you're not looking, I don't think you're doing your job. I don't think you're looking. I don't think you're doing your job. If you're not looking, you're not doing your job. And that's where I think it makes more sense that some of these reports are coming out that there might be some interest. There could be some sort of hey, you know what? That would be interesting. That could be a possibility to improve, because Ohio would instantly be on higher footing if it joined the Sun Belt. Ohio would instantly elevate itself. I'm not saying it's going to go head and shoulders above current teams in the Mid-American Conference, but it would have a higher upward trajectory. I think the visibility in the Sun Belt's greater than the Mid-American Conference. You look at the travel that's going to be involved. You've got UMass, you've got Buffalo. You've got some travel issues in the Mid-American Conference for all sports. You would have some travel concerns, I'm sure, in the Sun Belt as well. Behind the scenes, I'm sure there's a conversation being had. And at this time, you can't come out and just say, oh, yes, we're absolutely having conversations. You have to play it on the quiet. You just don't come out and go, yep, we have interest. Absolutely. We want to be. Now, we knew that Marshall would be heading for the Sun Belt. The way this thing was falling apart when Marshall was making its moves to position itself to get into the Sun Belt. We absolutely knew here. But at the same time, you just can't come out and say, oh, yes, and you have to put on that fake, because what if it doesn't work out in the background? Quick timeout. We come back and we will get your text in 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
The Tri-State is quickly learning that the bow tie means a better buy, and I've got July 4th deals all month long. Number one selling F-150, now up to $10,000 off, 0.9% financing, or just $499 a month. Explorers up to $5,500 off. Mustangs up to $7,500 off. Plus, get up to 125% of KBB for your trade. New ownership, improved processes, better deals. Visit University Ford in Huntington or at universityfordwv.com. See dealer for complete details.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Buddy's All-American Barbecue is now in Milton. Enjoy all your favorite Buddy's classics like pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more on East Main Street in Milton. Buddy's All-American Barbecue, the home of great barbecue, ice-cold beer, and killer wings in Huntington and now in Milton.
Here's another Kindred Communications Community Chatter. River City's Harvest is sponsoring a beef raffle. Those interested may purchase a ticket for a chance to win 1 of 4 packages of locally raised and processed beef. You can get the information from River City's Harvest and their Facebook page. The next drawing is Monday, July 14th at noon.
This Kindred Communications Community Chatter brought to you by All Ties of Farm Supplies. Central Boiler Outdoor Wood Furnaces available. 585 Center Point Road in Thurman, Ohio. Call 740-245-5196.
Think summer, think sunshine, lake days, beach trips, and all that sand, salt, and grime clinging to your car. That stuff doesn't just look bad, it can dull your paint, cause scratches, and even lead to rust. Protect your ride and keep it shining all summer long with a trip to Thoroughbred Express Auto Wash. Fast, easy, and built for real clean. Find a location near you by getting started at thoroughbredexpress.com. Join the winner's circle with Thoroughbred Express Wash, where your summer starts sparkling.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but as you grew up, things changed. Teaching just didn't seem like the best option anymore, so you decided to become something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Interesting and innovative things are happening in teaching today, so it's time to put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
We continue on with this edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line is brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Someone sent me this article yesterday, and I've had a chance to read a little bit of it about a new bill that is trying to make its way through Congress right now. It's been at least introduced, and lawmakers are trying to pass it through. It would ban using fees, student fees, for athletics. And so if you haven't read this story yet, it's got a little bit of bipartisan support. Again, this is early in its process, so this hasn't gone anywhere yet. But right now, it's got majority of Republicans on board with it, but there are a couple of Democrats that are also on board with it. So there could be some bipartisanship here. What this would allow, this is a bill that's going to regulate college sports a little bit more, as we need that as much as we possibly can right now. It would offer limited antitrust protection for the NCAA while preventing schools from using student fees to pay for college athletic programs. Now, I am absolutely probably in the minority on that, but I'm absolutely in favor of that component there. It might hurt Marshall to a degree, but at the same time, there are some institutions that spend a lot of money in their athletic departments on the backs of students. Not every student goes to athletic competition. Not every student can take advantage of going to an athletic competition. And I don't know if you would try to offset that by saying, okay, well, if you're a student, you want to go to the game here, you're going to have to pay for your tickets now. Maybe you turn your students into season ticket holders. But student fees across the country seem to be going up. And if you're trying to build the university, here's a way for students to maybe get a break. Now, do you think this is a good idea or a bad idea, depending on where you're at? Because there are a lot of athletic departments that most of the funding comes off the backs of students and from the university. There are other institutions that can at least cover some of the costs there. It's across the board in the spectrum. Now, this bill has what the NCAA has been looking for, or at least 3 items, according to the report on ESPN.com. Antitrust protections, that's big. Preemption of state laws that regulate name, image, and likeness payments. Also, a section that prevents athletes from becoming employees of their schools. Why is this important? It's because there's not a single standard for how this is all regulated. It's still, to a degree, the Wild Wild West. And there's also a section of this bill that, in theory, would protect Olympic programs, because a lot of that funding is going to go towards football and basketball. In the report, it calls on schools, this bill, with at least one coach who earns more than $250,000 to offer at least 16 sports programs. So trying to just keep all of this consistent. Now, the ban, according to the report on using fees, which would offset costs, here's the problem here. Some institutions are looking to pay for the $20.5 million by putting a lot of that on students. Case in point, and this has probably helped to move this along a little bit. Clemson earlier announced it would implement a fee, an athletic fee, of $150 each semester for students starting this fall. It's even worse at Fresno State. Fresno State approved fees of an additional $495 a year, and half of that's going to be directed towards athletics. Tennessee, of course, Tennessee's got a scheme. Tennessee has what was described as a talent fee to be added to season ticket renewals. Now, if you're in Arkansas, you're going to be paying more for your concession prices. And there are going to be more expenditures for fans and students alike. The cost of business is going up. Now, ticket prices seem to be at a really good level at Marshall right now. It's a good deal. I'm not going to lie to you. If you want to go see football, you can get a season ticket package. Depending on your level, it's a good deal. It's not that expensive. I don't think. If you, of course, take issue with that statement, you know what to do. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. To be fair, I think Marshall is not excessive. Now, I will argue this is not a Marshall issue. I will argue this issue in any venue. Concession prices are just ridiculous, and this is not a Marshall issue. So please, it's not directed toward anyone at Marshall. It's directed toward, in general, what concession prices are. It's the same thing with movie theaters. Concession prices have gotten out of control. You can go to a movie, and the movie ticket price has gone up over the years. Okay, I get it. It's a different experience. And I'm not trying to throw stones at anyone's glass house at the moment. But it's an expensive proposition. You want to take a family of 4. We use that as the case study, the example. Hey, what's it going to cost a family of 4 to go to a sporting event? Well, if you're going to Tennessee, it's going to cost a lot more on your ticket. And, of course, concessions are going to go up. And that's why I always encourage a wide range of options. Let's make this a little bit more affordable for the so-called family of 4. Let's make this an experience. And there are price points for every group of fans. And I will say this, and this is sincere. I'm pretty happy with the way Marshall goes about it. There are different options. There's the mini packages, of course. There's the season packages that are relatively inexpensive. And, of course, you can go single game. You can get the mini package if you can't really handle a season ticket or you can't make it to all the games. And, of course, if you're a Marshall fan that has to be at every game, you pretty much plan this out. And, of course, depending on your contribution level, will be the price of your ticket because you want to buy the higher-end tickets. And there are higher-end places for you in the stadium now. You're going to have the end zone seating, and that's going to open up some of the other seating for fans. So people that migrate over to the end zone seating, it's going to open up a little bit for, say, chairbacks. And you're going to have some people move up a little bit. And, of course, then you're going to have, the rest of the stadium, and there might be some opportunities there for fans to get into the stadium, get a good seat, watch the game, not kill yourself. That's probably the big takeaway here from that is you're seeing now more of an effort to limit what I would say has become a carnival, and there's no consistency here. And just to my point here, and again, I'm not trying to talk you into anything. But there are some game plans, many packages. I think the press release that went out today was, and we talked to Ryan Crisp, and he did a really great job of outlining what we can expect from tickets. There are 3 game plans available in the chairback, which are $294, East Prime's $144, Sideline $99, End Zone $69, and of course you can get the season ticket as well. You'll guarantee yourself opportunities to get road tickets. If you're a Marshall fan, I think right now there's a good spot for you depending on what you're able to spend. I will say that. But at some places, the ticket prices are going to go up, and I don't know if smaller programs like a Marshall can bear jacking tickets up like that or putting on the students' back a $150 athletic fee each semester. And I appreciate that student government stood up and said, no, this is, we're not putting more on the students right now. I think that was, a important message. You want to make Marshall University as affordable as it can be. At the same time, you got to find revenue sources. That's where we're at right now. It's so difficult here because if you're overburdening your students, how's that help the university? It's a little bit different. And so I think that there needs to be a level playing field. At the same time, you don't want to take away the ability of the programs that can generate more revenue. You don't want to limit that. At the same time, though, and this isn't trying to just be fair, this is just trying to be consistent. Like, okay, here's the guidelines. Here's how much you can spend. And here's what you have to do in regards to your Olympic sports. And also, you can't just gouge your student population with fees to pay for all of this. And that's going to hurt a lot of institutions, and maybe rightfully so, because there are so few institutions right now that are probably prepared for what's coming when it comes to trying to pay for all of this. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter says, Paul, I'm with you. Do not raise fees on students. And I appreciate that. And probably the counterpoint to that is, where's Marshall going to get its fees? Where's Marshall going to get its revenue? Where are the other schools going to get revenue to make this work and try to be competitive? I think you got to get creative. And of course, winning helps. Season tickets, that helps. All of that helps. Merchandising, all of this helps. And you got to be creative a little bit more. You got to open those facilities up. And I think the renovations to the Shuey, that's a good start. That's not the end all, but that is a good start. If there are Marshall fans that would like to have a more premium experience, and you can offer it to them, and you can make more money off of that, then by all means. More coming up, including your text, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We're just shooting off the cuff here. Thanks for sticking around on today's edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This summer, the fun heats up at Dave & Buster's. Introducing the all-new Summer Season Pass. Your ticket to unlimited gameplay all summer long. Now through Labor Day, choose the Silver Pass for unlimited weekday gameplay and 10% off food and drinks. Just $69.99. You want more? Upgrade to Gold or Platinum for weekend gameplay, up to 30% off food and drinks, and even weekly food vouchers. Don't miss out. Grab your pass today and level up your summer. Blackout dates may apply. Visit DaveandBusters.com for full details. The summer heats up at Dave & Buster's Huntington Mall.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-505-9257. 800-505-9257. 800-505-9257.
Save big on everything for your next outdoor project at Menards. Shop the largest selection of AC2 pressure-treated lumber and decking, all easy to load into your vehicle in our drive-through lumber yard. Plus, get free estimates fast using our easy do-it-yourself deck design program. Available in-store or on Menards.com. Save big on all pressure-treated lumber and decking at Menards. And don't forget to check out our weekly flyer for more great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
The soundtrack to your summer is back. Mount West Nice Street Live, downtown Huntington's favorite Friday night tradition. Presented by Michelob Ultra and White Claw. This Friday, July 11th, it's Collins Career Center night featuring 2 sets from the John Ingram Band on the Marsha OBGYN stage. The Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Gomart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy food and drinks from the Marsha Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station. Mark your calendar for July 18th, the return of Jeremy Short. Join us July 25th for Souls of the Wounded. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August the 15th. Nice Street Live is driven by University Ford and built by Cardinal Roofing. Every Friday night through Labor Day, Nice Street in Huntington between 3rd and 4th Avenues. Sponsored by Delta Hotels, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, City of Huntington, Marshall University, Blinko Glass Company, Marshall Health Arena, and Kendrick Communications. This Friday, it's the John Ingram Band at Mount West Nice Street Live. Be there.
Rock the concert at James Family Outfitters for Rock the Country 2025. Get your boots, hat, jeans, and more for the area's biggest concert. Stars like Kid Rock, Nickelback, Hank Williams Jr., and Tracy Lawrence, just to name a few. Rock the concert in style with Wrangler jeans, Stetson hats, Durango, Harriet, and Justin boots. All at James Family Outfitters, 507 Carroll Malone Boulevard, July 11th and 12th. Stake your claim. with the folks named James.
The holiday may be over, but the stars, stripes, and deals at Cardinal Chevy keep on going. Hot new Silverados, 0% financing or save up to $13,000. New Equinox, $4,700 off. New Traverse, over $4,500 off. Plus up to 125% of KBB value for your trades. New ownership, improved processes, better deals. We're taking the market by storm. Visit our gorgeous facility right off I-64 and Hurricane or at CardinalChevy.com. Together, let's drive. See dealer for complete details.
Before I was adopted, I felt like my life was already over.
My biggest fear was that I would age out and not know how to be sufficient on my own.
At a certain age, like they don't want you, you're troubled and stuff.
The clock is ticking for the more than 125,000 kids waiting to be adopted from foster care. Help the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption prevent them from aging out without a permanent family. Learn more at davethomasfoundation.org.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode? Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks for hanging out with us on this Friday edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line continues to be open, 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. We've been really going over a lot about basically the business of sports today. And I hope that there is real conversation to finally regulate what the NCAA is all about, what it can do, what you can do with name, image, and likeness, and, of course, how to pay for all of this. And I think it's a big deal that there is a bill that's being introduced that would limit what some universities can do, because I think there are a lot of institutions that are going to put the burden on college athletics on the backs of students. And now we're in a situation where you're going to get the money. Well, you pass that savings on to someone else. And in this case, and we were talking about this earlier, if you just joined us, Clemson's going to put a $150 athletic fee each semester for students. And Fresno State's going to charge students almost $500 a year. And if you're a season ticket holder, be thankful right now that Marshall hasn't put on Tennessee's talent fee just yet. I mean, think about this, because we're going to get into this again. I'd love to have this conversation on Monday as well, but would your ability to go to Marshall University if you're a student, would your ability be hampered greatly if Marshall would charge something like a $150 fee, athletic fee, per semester? Now, if you're a season ticket holder, and I'm sure at some price levels this isn't an issue for some people, and bless your hearts, if you don't even blink when it comes to something like this. I'm grateful that you have that ability. But for someone else that not necessarily can swing it, and you want to go to Marshall football games, you want to take the family, you're a big Marshall fan, your kid's a Marshall fan, it's what you've been doing, it's where you go on Saturdays, it's something that it's just a big part of your life. And prices do go up. Honestly, prices go up. I get it. But at what point can you say, I've had enough, I can't do it anymore? And this isn't directed at Marshall, but we're just using that as the example. If you're trying to go to a game and all of a sudden you got to pay a talent fee. You go to the game, concessions are really high, cost a lot of money. Now, again, I mean, for some people, they're not even going to bat an eye at this, because I go see some of your tailgate spreads, and let me tell you, you're spending money. You're spending more on your tailgate spread than you are going to the game or to the university. You know who you are. All right, thanks for being a part of it today here on this Friday. We kind of keep it casual on the weekend, and, of course, kicking off your weekend. I hope you have a great one. I'll be back with you on Monday. We're going to reset and do it all over again here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Broadcasting from the Dave & Buster's studios. Eat, drink, play, and watch at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. WRBC, W231BS Huntington.